Let's get we'll get back on track now. We have this story from Fox News. Gavin Newsom savagely mocked as disgusting transphobe for claiming men can't get pregnant at abortion rally. Quote, if men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be a conversation, the governor told the crowd of abortion supporters. You know what is missing from this headline, though? He was mocked by conservatives in jest as a transphobe because the left doesn't care that he said this. But Gavin Newsom said that if men could get pregnant, this would be a conversation. I was told back in 2016 by the Daily Beast that men were getting pregnant. We have that story about the pregnant man. What's he talking about?
Wait, so the left is not mocking him at all? That's surprising to me because they usually eat their own. I mean, I am not surprised that conservatives are ripping on him, but the left's usually pretty good at eating their own.
They don't care. They don't care. We saw how fast they were able to define what a woman was when Roe leaked, when the decision leaked. They're like, all of a sudden, we know what it is.
Don't make laws about women's bodies.
This is why I don't get sarcastic as a rebuttal to someone I don't agree with, because they'll take you out of context and make you sound like an elite. Like
I agree with the argument that men should not be passing laws on women's bodies. Oh. I completely agree. And that means that the Supreme Court in 1973, that was all male, should not have enshrined Roe v. Wade, right?
That's right.
But they passed a law saying you can't pass a law.
They what?
They said they passed a law saying you can't pass a law. They told the states you can't they passed a law that, or they made a Supreme Court decision that states can't pass laws.
Yeah, that's the First Amendment.
Yeah.
The First Amendment says
they said we're choosing to decide that they can't choose whether or not to decide if you can choose.
That's literally what the Constitution does. Like it restricts the government from doing certain things.
Many things.
This is funny when everybody got mad about the parental rights and education bill, like Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. He's just he's always
so useless.
But he was like, you're opposing free speech, and it's like, yo, the government can restrict itself. Like, imagine if Ian declared, I will no longer be allowed to talk about freeing the code. They'd be like, you're violating your free speech. Like, no, he's choosing not to talk.
Also, I'm curious if Cenk thinks that not being able to teach creationism in schools is a violation of religious freedom.
It's a violation of free speech. Teachers should be allowed to discuss creationism with kids in secret.
That's right.
And say, don't tell your parents what we taught you here today, all right?
And the math problems are like, what was the one? Jesus rose.
Noah needs to get the animals on his ark.
Right,
If there's 2 animals in each species, there's this many species. How many animals do we have?
To create some nuance on the government restricting itself, you've got the federal government restricting the state government, and those are not the same governments. You might argue
they're not restricting them, though. I mean, they're giving them they're giving them the freedom.
Well, no. Like, the First Amendment at the federal level protects us against state repression as well. But that was a court case. Someone was mentioning this on the show, that it didn't used to be that way, that the federal government's only referred to itself and the states refer to themselves. But at some point, the federal government superseded all of the states.
It had to do with the farmer revolt in like 1783, I think. I'm not sure those years are right, but anyways, Seamus, I'll talk about that later.
Well, yeah, also on this point of it being a restriction of free expression to not to not allow teachers to spread their perverse sexual practices for students. I mean, like, okay, even if that was the case, then fine, teachers shouldn't be expressing their, perverted sexuality to students. But it's not as if there is such a thing as a right, A, to have secret conversations with other people's children, but B, to be part of an institution that the parents are funding with their tax money and not give the parents a say in what their children are being taught. There's no such right.
Actually, Seamus, it's the 31st Amendment that teachers shall have the right to have secret conversations with children about sex and tell the children not to tell their parents.
That's right.
See, this is why I gotta study civics more, man.
This is that's the Constitution in 20 years. So.
I'm sorry. If you want to talk about sex with my child, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. Right to jail.
Will you homeschool? Are you or will you homeschool?
I don't know. He's peeing on me right now. I haven't really gotten that far.
Have you educated him about not peeing on you yet?
No, I just tell him elephants are not birds. You can buy the book at Brave Books.
Brave Books?
Reading it.
Brave Books.
Cool.
You have to be like, excuse me, sir, please don't pee on me.
Please stop peeing.
No, you know what he does?
You
know what he does? He laughs and then he pees.
That's great.
Because he likes my reaction. I scream every time, so he laughs and then he pees.
Oh, good for him.
Someone else laughed until they peed last night. Who was that?
Oh my gosh.
What? That was a dream I had. I don't remember.
Maybe it was a dream.
You had a dream you laughed until you peed?
No, it wasn't me. No, I was watching scare videos on YouTube, and some girl was like, "Oh, ha, ha," and looked down to see if she peed herself.
Oh my gosh!
What kind of stuff are you watching?
Oh, so many things.
So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, anyway, Gavin Newsom changed his political position for convenience.
Yeah. So I said, pro tip: if they say no uterus, no opinion, just remind them that trans women are women. And somebody said sarcasm further entrenches differing opinions. You're literally doing their work for them by further further adding credibility to the premise, even if you're trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny at all. I'm trying to illuminate to them the duplicity of their own arguments by using them.
They don't care. I tweeted, pregnant men have no say in abortion because they are men.
I don't care if they don't care. I care if the people watching care.
Well, yeah, but the people who already agree with us, I guess, what we're looking for is people who aren't paying attention.
Moderates. Yes.
To see the people who aren't paying attention. They're not necessarily moderates. They're also liberals who aren't paying attention. They don't know what's going on. But I tweeted, pregnant men have no say in abortion because they are men. And I really do feel like it's a perfect tweet because you literally can't argue anything about it. Because it's like they're both left-wing positions, but they both contradict. They both contradict. So it's like, which of your positions are you mad about?
Yeah.
So it's like, tell me I'm wrong, but which of your positions are you mad about? That men can't have a say on this, or that pregnant men do have a say on this?
I don't even care anymore. I'm just so tired of the not common sense. Like, men are not women. I don't care. I don't even need to make fun of your argument. Like, common sense is common sense.
That's what
men are not women. And I'm so tired of living in this clown world. It's a clown world at this point.
Yeah, men are not really able to get pregnant, right?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good.
Not at all.
Yeah. Sure what?
So here's let's break it down. Here's what happens. Blair White is always the go-to example, conservative trans woman. But I bring up Blair because Ben Shapiro said in writing he would use he/him pronouns for Blair because Blair is male. But in public, it's too complicated to explain to a person that Blair is male. So if he was like, someone said, "Where should I sit?" "Oh, go sit by her." Because he can't, if he says him, people would be like, "Where?" I don't see.
Can you say confusing. Blair?
But if the person didn't know who Blair was. And so what happens then is we recognize that, someone who is like a trans man or a trans woman, for ease of conversation, people might be like, "Oh, her, she, etc." But then it translates into a legal realm where a younger generation who's growing up with it says, then they are women, if you accept this. So it starts with tolerance of being like, okay, for the ease and purpose of communication, we'll just say we get it. But then young people are like, that's a woman. And so now you have men can get pregnant when man is defined as adult human male. Adult human males can't get pregnant. So I tweeted, trans women are not adult human females because they're literally not, according to every dictionary, to Wikipedia, to every encyclopedia, to every understanding. And I got two reactions. One was, congratulations, Tim, you idiot. You just discovered the difference between sex and gender. The others were, you're a bigot. That's not true. Why would you say this? And like, now we're going to come after you. And I'm like, I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't target anybody. I didn't insult anybody. I made a fact statement based on Wikipedia. That's all it was.
Yeah, well, also, you discovered the difference between sex and gender. Actually, there is no such distinction. It was invented by a pervert and pedophile named Dr. John Money.
Yes, he was a weirdo.
He was an actual...
He was a very... What didn't he had studies about... like 7-year-olds.
That's Kinsey.
Oh,
well, Money also did. So yeah, Dr. John Money had an infant boy given a sex change at a young age because he underwent a botched circumcision and then had the parents raise him as a girl, and
then
he
both
forced
of them killed themselves.
Yeah, he forced him and his brother. He forced him to live as a girl, and he forced him and his brother into doing like depraved acts on camera.
Adult activities.
Yes, on camera and filmed it. Disgusting pervert. He coined the terms gender identity, sexual orientation. He got the DSM to adopt the term paraphilia instead of deviance.
They both killed themselves.
Yes,
this is the double-edged sword of TV, radio, internet, is that we see this crazy stuff now because people have probably been doing this for millennia, chopping people apart and doing, but now we see it.
But they weren't celebrated. Like
exactly.
They are now.
No, it was. You saw how gross it was at the time, but the double edge of that is that the mind virus can spread. Like if people think they're frogs and people don't feel accepted and they want to be part of a group, they go to become part of the I'm a frog group.
Especially for children too, and it's really confusing to tell them it's interchangeable at any time you want. I mean, if you tell a kid they're a rabbit, they're going to hop around and ask for carrots. That's just how kids are. And I'm in New York City, you have 9-year-olds there that are saying they're transgender. They are presenting as, a little girl presenting as a boy, and their parents are okay with it, and it's like a status symbol there. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I'm so loving and accepting, and they're putting it on these kids. Like, this kid's not they have no idea what they're doing.
There's a Libs of TikTok video that just went up where the mother is doing a grammar lesson with her child, her son, and it's a bunch of sentences. Juan went on the swing. Sarah rode her bike, or Sarah, got on, on her bike or whatever. And it's like, which pronoun would you use? And he put they for all of them. And the mom was like, why did you do that? And he's like, because we don't know what gender they are. And she goes, but look at their names. And he goes, you said nothing is a boy or a girl. And she was like, but their names. And then she went, well, I guess I have to give you an A because I did say it. It's like she's confused that when she tells a little boy these names are not boy or girl, so he goes, I guess I'll use they. Because he doesn't know the difference between a male and a female name.
I mean, the ideological underpinnings of the left that have been forced on this country have actually mandated adults to become dumber than children, is the moral of that story.
Because they want to throw out rationalization and reasoning. They don't want you to think.
My fear is that it hasn't even been forced on people, that they've acquiesced to, they've chosen it because they feel so dissolved of the future.
I think kids are pressured. The
kids are forced into it. The adults, however, are disenfranchised. They have no hope, so they revert to just insanity.
That's you're missing the big picture here. We used to grow up in the real world. We used to have animals. We used to watch animals. We used to watch each other. We used to be on farms. We used to work hard. We used to recognize that if you didn't wake up at 6 a.m. and till the field, you didn't eat. Now we have everything. We have good times making soft people. They don't see livestock. They don't know how animals work. They don't know where their food comes from. So they're growing up completely detached from reality. That's what's happening. That parent who's like, why is my son doing these things? It's because she grew up in a bubble world with no requirements. So it's just this confused state of, I should have things for free. Nothing is real, blank slate, all of that stuff. You look at people who grow up in rural areas and they're like, better farm or that's it, no food.
Yeah, we had a guest on a couple of weeks ago that said that they never even had to do, I think it was, it was the cowboy. Braxton McCoy. Yeah. Philosophical cowboy, someone called him or something like that. He said that he never really had to have sex ed talks with his kids because they grew up on a farm. Mm-hmm. So they already knew.
Look at the chickens. Check this out.
You didn't even need to give the chicken sex ed, Tim.
We have Chicken City.
They just know.
We have Chicken City down in the basement. And I can't remember who it was the other day said, a fight's breaking out. And the chickens were doing it.
That's not a fight.
And I was like, bro, the male jumped on the back of the female and then started thrusting. And you thought it was a fight. Another thing that happened is I had someone say to me, so why would you want to have roosters? Do they lay different kinds of eggs?
Yes.
No.
They do, yeah.
And I was like, roosters are...
Deport them immediately.
Look, I don't blame people. I blame our society. But it's like, it's a natural process. We've come to the point where we are so pampered, where we have factory farms. I know a lot of people dispute the idea, but listen, I'm talking about the pink slime that is chicken nuggets. You used to have to go and you raise the chickens and you're throwing, grains or whatever, or you're turning over the wood for the bugs. And then eventually you're like, time to eat this chicken, time to eat these eggs. You know what was really crazy to me? And I mean, craziest experience. Growing up in a city, the first time I ate my own chicken's egg, I was like, do I have to do anything to it? Do I have to clean it?
Can I just sterilize it? Should I put hand sanitizer over it?
Tim got the dish soap and a sponge out. He was scrubbing that thing off.
Ready.
The only reason I haven't been eating them is because I'm afraid they're fertilized.
They are all fertilized.
Does it matter?
No,
do you just get a little half-grown chicken fetus in there when you crack it?
No, it's like a little white dot on the
yolk. Which is the chicken fetus, basically?
It's the spunk from the rooster.
Is it okay to eat?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean.
See, that's the crazy thing. Yeah. Throughout human history, we've had, since the chickens were like 100 AD. That question was not asked.
Is it better for you to have a fertilized partner?
No. Like, imagine being a kid growing up in the year 200 AD. Actually, did you guys see The Northman? Mm-mm. They mentioned, something about like being a slave, like because they were like Nordic slaves, and he's like, you'll go out working with the Silkies. Silkies are kind of chicken. They've been around for a long time.
They're so fuzzy.
Yeah, they're fluffy and they're funny and they're goofy and they make funny sounds.
Little blue eggs.
Listen. People would walk into the forest and grab chives right off the ground and go, food. And they would walk back and then put it down. They go, hey, and they'd all just eat it. It's like, that's food.
You can't do that. I get anxiety going to the grocery store because I'm like, what's in this? I'm like, is this real chicken? Is this, pumped full of saline? What's in?
Probably is. We're better off with cleaner foods, but to a limit, right? Like I watched some documentary about how they mixed like beef with ammonia to get rid of the bacteria from it.
That's common.
And then mix it back into other meat.
Well, even the chickens we have now are like mutants. They're mutant chickens that we have now. They're nothing like, the difference between chickens now and 100 years ago, they're flavorless, they're giant, they're mutants.
Exactly. Yeah. Good times create soft chickens.
That's right.
Good times create mutant chickens. That's right. Mutant chickens create hard times.
It's
hard
true.
times create normal chickens.
So here's my point. Here's my point. I remember it was like 2014. I got first chickens ever. They laid eggs. And then I was like, okay, I've never done this before. And I'm, how old was I like then? This is what is it? 8 years ago. So I'm like 26, 27. And I'm like, I have never eaten an egg from a chicken before. What do I do? And I'm looking up online. Do I have to wash it? Do I have to like cook it to a certain temperature? And it was like, it basically said, if you keep your chicken safe and healthy, you can eat it raw. And I was like, what? No, you get salmonella. It's like, no, that's because of modern, poultry conditions and stuff. And I was like, really?
So Timmy's like, I'm going Rocky. Cracked that egg, put it in a cup, threw it back.
Oh yeah, do you eat them raw at all?
Saying Eye of the Tiger.
No, I use them to make, I've been making like a nut bread. It's amazing. You just mix some nut powder, like walnut powder, and some almond flour with the egg, and then you microwave it, and you get a little bun, and then I put cheese and egg and bacon.
You know what I love? I do bird's nest. So you you cut out a little circle in the middle, and then you crack the egg, and you can dip it in it. You make it nice and runny.
Yeah. But the other thing, too, is we have chives in the yard all over the place because chives grow early season. And I just went out and we grabbed a whole bunch and chopped them up and threw it in our beef. It was so good. We have wineberry
Probably
season.
Got more flavor than anything you buy at the store, too.
Yeah, refrigerating it can destroy the flavor, especially with tomatoes.
Wineberries. You see these? They got Appalachia all over the place. They're little Chinese raspberries that are everywhere. During wineberry season, you walk outside and you get like 2 pounds in like 20 minutes. You just shuffle them into bowls. But people who live in cities don't know anything about this. So they are like children. So, I'm not trying to be overtly disrespectful. I am saying quite literally, 200, 300 years ago, people had to mature. They had to survive hardship. Today, it's so good that these people are confused about whether or not they can eat an egg.
Yeah.
No, and the food we are getting is just so bad. I think you can fact check me on it. I think you have to eat like 8 peaches now to get the same nutritional value as a peach like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything, even fruit, veggies, it's just, I don't know what it is. That would be a...
They were probably. I bet people would eat the eggshells back in the day.
Yeah, probably.
I bet people would eat orange rind. They'd be like, "Don't waste it."
Of course.
You know what I bet's good is putting the eggshells in your bathtub when you're taking a bath and soaking in that water. I bet that's really good for your skin. Just the thought came to me. Yeah.
I was thinking about this.
Tougher?
It's
so good.
I had a friend
goes right through porous.
I had a friend in Arizona who lived by what she called a citrus tree. And it was because she was like all the different citrus like crossbreeds or whatever.
Yeah, they're kind of hoes.
Weird fruit. But I'm looking at this tree.
It's true.
I'm looking at this tree and it's just got like 500 oranges or whatever in it. And then I'm like, man, imagine being some just, like nomadic tribal person. And you're looking for food and you come across this one tree with all of these fruits and you're like, and you just take it all and you're like, look what I found. And everyone's like, oh, food. Because like food's hard to come by and they're like eating it like crazy and they're just eating whatever they can get.
Yeah,
and not just food. Oh, sorry, Liz, you go.
No,
not.
Okay.
No, you go.
All right, Seamus, go. I was just
animals.
gonna say you can get these citrus like fruits that have like horns like a devil because they're so weird and kind of incestuous and they like mix with all different kinds of citrus. You can get like grapefruit crossbreeds with lemons, crossbreeds with limes. You get these weird funky things that are really good. They're great for humans. But anyway, Seamus.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say if you came across that, it's not just that you found food, it's that you found a very rare and very sweet and very delicious food. Nowadays we've sort of been spoiled by these foods that have very intense flavors that would not occur naturally in nature, right? Well, that was redundant. But you'll come across like historically, if someone found an orange or a strawberry or an apple, I mean, that was really a treat for them. Like, this is delicious. And nowadays people are like, fruit, gross. I want a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.